Hey. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to What's Trending live from the Samsung Blogger Lounge in Austin, Texas at South by Southwest. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm Shira Lazar. This is my head writer, Lon Harris, the brilliant Lon Harris.
Hi, everybody.
And today we are joined by Robert Rodriguez, DJ Katrona, and Zane Holtz, behind From Dusk Till Dawn, the series on El Rey Network. Before we get into our conversation, I want to encourage you all watching live online. We are in the chat room taking your questions. We're also following you guys on Twitter. Hashtag tweet those questions to Samsung SXSW. And before we get into this, let's check out a clip from Dusk Till Dawn.
The Gecko brothers are back.
Rangers don't have to look for trouble. Trouble finds them.
That's $13 million, Carlos.
Trust your brother. He sees things you don't.
It's time.
Richie.
Weirdo. I make the plan, everyone executes it, or I execute you. Got your balls on?
Screwed on tight.
We were supposed to be low profile.
You're the one with the trigger finger that's got the entire state of Texas looking for us.
Place of dead roads. Last stop before hell.
Love it. Yes, there you go. How about that? I mean, you're obviously so close to this project, and yet you're still so, I feel like, you know, captured by the moving image and the story. And I saw you like watching the trailer, and you're like very.
Oh, because I'm looking. Which trailer is this? Is this the one that ends with the big grab, or is this the one?
Because you do it all. People don't realize, like, you're part of every part of the process.
Someone was showing the trailer, and the sound wasn't working. It was a big audience. So I said, you know what? Just play it without the sound. I know it well enough. I'll just do the voices for it as we went. And by the time I got to the end, I was like, everybody be cool. You be cool. And it was like a kung fu movie. It almost matched. And it was pretty exciting.
That's awesome.
Sometimes you got to do it all.
You should do that for like the DVD when it comes out. Just like all Robert Rodriguez.
The sound effects and the
ADR.
Now, for the first time on television, the coolest television network ever, El Rey Network.
Dude, those promos would be awesome. Come on. Were you guys shooting last night? Are you still shooting right now?
Yeah, we're still shooting right now, technically, I think, right?
Hold on. Let me call cut.
Camera.
No. Besides this, it's very minute. Are you actually shooting the show still?
Mm-hmm. Still shooting. Still
No way.
We're on the 9th episode.
We start 10 Monday, I think, right?
Yeah. We're shooting into the night.
So I appreciate you coming up for this, because I'm sure you're not getting a lot of sleep. What is it like working on such an iconic, I guess, well, it was a movie, obviously, now, something that we all know. It's such an iconic brand and franchise, and being part of this whole world that Robert has created.
Oh, it's a no-brainer, man. I mean, at first it's daunting because, you know, obviously it's been done so perfectly, and, you know, it's such an iconic piece of film, but to get to do it with Robert and, you know, kind of get in that sandbox, once we get to work, it's just fun. You know, you would think you would be nervous, but it's the total opposite. It's just a lot of fun. It's great.
It's kind of like getting to do a really well-known play and to have really amazing characters that are written by Quentin Tarantino. Why wouldn't you want to get on that stage and play that part? Even if it's been done before, you go and there's an electricity. I mean, every actor felt it when Wilmer gets up on the stage of the bar and has to introduce the Santanico Pandemonium character that Salma had played. He was just shaking. Oh, this is such an iconic moment that he gets to do. It's almost better the second time because there's just so much more behind it. So much time has passed, so much more story, so many more. We rounded out the characters, different fates for characters. You knew new characters. But really, if the film was the short story, this is the novel, and it's much more sprawling and sets up for seasons to come.
Is it something you would have been wanting to do for a long time to bring it back, or just it was good timing with the network happening and everything?
It wasn't conscious, but it was almost very subconscious. There were some things that I added to the film that weren't in the script. I wanted to give it, because it was set in Mexico, more of like a Aztec Mayan mythology. So that's where the snakes idea on Salma came from a blood cult I had read about. And I just ended the movie with this sort of Planet of the Apes ending shot where you pull back and you see this temple that the bar was on. And people loved that image because it suggested so much more story than what was given. And I've had that painting, that matte painting in my office for 18 years. And I look at it all the time and go, I wish I had done more with that. And then when the network came about, rather than do a new show that no one heard of and put it on a network no one heard of, I thought, let me take a title that people really know. And Dusk Till Dawn has the most story value of something we can tell. And make that the first show to draw people's attention to the El Rey Network. And people were so eager to get on this show because they're such classic characters. It's the first time Quentin's characters have ever been on television. And we had controlled the rights to Dusk Till Dawn. Others had wanted to make it for a show, but we just never allowed it. Yeah. But because we have so much creative freedom at the El Rey Network to make it the way it needs to be, we did it for this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. The season one, if people don't know, is sort of recreating and expanding the movie. So like we'll go through these first 10 episodes, and that'll be basically the story of the film, but blown up on a much larger scale.
If you've seen the movie, yeah, you'll go and you'll see the first episode, and you go, oh, there's the liquor store.
Right.
And there's, I think, that character, but who's that and who's that? And it's almost like an alternate universe. It tells a completely different story. And so you see some signposts, but it's actually a retelling in a much bigger way where you go, wow, I never thought that came from the film.
I think what's so interesting is, can you tell us a little bit about making that decision rather than like what the sequel films did, which is let's take this sort of basic concept and like look at new characters and new situations. Like why decide to go back and like let's see the geckos and their story from the beginning?
Because that was the script that Quentin had written, were those characters, and that's why even the movie was so weird to begin with. That's why it took so long for vampires to be introduced. He fell in love with his characters so much. They should have gotten to the bar in the first 10 minutes, but he stuck out with them because he really made them so rich. So I wanted to use those characters, but I couldn't just do a sequel because we didn't tell the movie the right way. I mean, Quentin's characters should be like his movies are long. You shouldn't do a 90-minute movie on a Quentin Tarantino character. That's why people watch the movie so many times. They're just hooked on those characters. So we thought, let's take those characters, retell it, and set them up for a much bigger story. And that would be the way to go, so that even if you're familiar with the movie, you will not know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, and I mean, DJ and Zane, I guess that would be my question for you. We were just looking at a clip from the original film. Stepping into roles that were made famous by, I mean, George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino. Like, talk a little bit about like the pressure and how much were you inspired by what they did versus what you were sort of going to bring in and add.
You want to take this one?
Yeah. You can both take it.
I had obviously seen the movie when I was young, and when I first got the opportunity to come in and read for Robert, I hadn't seen it in a couple of years. So I intentionally kind of stayed away from that so that I wouldn't go in and try and bring that into the room and try and do what Quentin did. And I just tried to give it my own thing and work with the material I was given and what Robert gave me. So I was basically just going off the page and trying to make my own thing instead of trying to do Quentin. And I didn't allow myself to actually watch the movie until I got the job.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's cool. It's a completely different take on it, and the character is completely different from in the movie. So he has a lot going on that's involved with the temple from a very early stage. So that you feel it's pretty much a crime saga with supernatural elements from the very beginning episode. There's no halfway point where suddenly it turns into something. You feel the saga that goes on. And I think just the place they were at was very similar. I mean, like George Clooney couldn't get a movie at that time. He was on television, but DJ's got actually more movie experience, almost like the opposite. Almost took a movie star and put him into this rather than take a TV star.
Just take it.
We're going to get assassinated for that one.
So what I'm hearing is Batman after this.
Very much, he's on his way. I mean, was something very kind of him to come and do for us because he was really the only person I had on the list. And he came in and did it, and he got excited about the network and the freedom of that, and just doing something cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I said, we are going to do some really cool shit that is not on television. I mean, it's not going to be TV. This is going to be like cinematic television. And they look like features, because what I didn't realize, I'd always heard TV was very fast, so I was a little worried about that, because I shoot pretty fast on my movies to keep the budgets down, to have more freedom. So I'm thinking, how much faster could we go? I don't even know. Maybe I'm just too old or something to do that. Let's see what the challenge will be. And then we get there, and without me knowing, we'd been shooting at TV pace all this time. So our features look just like this show. My crews had already been trained to move that fast. So we've cranked out basically 10 movies in about 5 months. Wow. And they're awesome. And
you're rolling it out. The promotion around this is almost like the art is really important to that, and releasing that, and almost like how you release some of your movies. So talk about that in terms of how the story you're trying to tell with what is a TV series in that way.
You said the art?
Well, the art, like the graphic, like there's a lot of art around the posters and everything.
That's something we've always done in our features in-house.
Yeah.
Is we have, right by our stage, I have a little green screen stage where we go and we'll shoot photos.
And he does it all in-house, which if you've seen the studio, it's like crazy,
It's just,
it's fantastic.
You go hire, agencies to come do that. That's the studio method that's expensive, and then you end up with posters with two people's heads stuck together. You just got to, a long time ago, we made a company called Nevermind, I'll Do It Myself Productions, just because sometimes you got to do that. And I'll actually the one on set taking the still photos that make the lobby cards and all that go out. Because I know their best sides, I know their best angles, I know the scene. And you just, while you're there, you got a Canon 5D, shoot the promo that's going to go on everywhere. And so we shoot the posters, we make those, we bank those, because you're always going to need content going out. And we just kind of do it all at the same time. It's really fun, it's exciting.
And now you have a gallery, you have an art show here in Austin.
And now they got a gallery. I make them paint in between takes.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Do you? Is that therapeutic? It's like your meditation.
It opens up a lot of creativity. I mean, they get into it.
Yeah, there's it's really cool. Like literally right off stage, there's like a mini gallery of different actors and actresses that have worked with Robert on different projects, and they all do these beautiful portraits. Robert has this process that he's kind of honed over the years, and it allows actors, even if you don't paint, even if you've never done it, to kind of do a beautiful rendition of your own portrait of your character. And you have them all up in the gallery now, right?
Yeah, they're all in the gallery, and they're hanging in there. Some of them are theirs that are works in progress, and they look finished already. But it really, it's just a method I pull with the actors to, even if they say they can't paint, they see that their creativity just wants to come out, and it almost triggers another part of their brain, and creative problem solving. So when you come back to the set and you're faced with a problem, it's a breeze to solve, because you were just solving much more difficult things in the paint room on a creative level, and you're just firing all cylinders. And you got a great piece of art to take home as a wrap gift at the end.
That's great. All right, we have a question from the audience. Oh, we just have a mic. Make sure the mic's working so we hear you.
Which is awkward. Okay.
Go for it.
I will hold it. Oh, okay.
You're good. We hear
Okay.
you.
My name is Vanessa Pulido. This is for Robert Rodriguez. You've been very hands-on since the beginning, since your first film, and now you're doing your own network. You're obviously very innovative, creative, and a leader in everything that you do. What advice would you have for somebody who wants to be just as creative and ambitious?
You have to be as innovative as possible. If people sometimes, they're at a film festival like this and they say, we're trying to do what you did and we want to break into the film festival and we got a film. And I go, well, the problem is there's about 1,000 other people trying to do the same thing. They're all trying to fit into this one hole. Try and do something else. Try to innovate another way around. Everything I did throughout my career was completely, if everyone was going that way, I went that way. So if everybody was making a low-budget movie for $1 million, I went and did one without a crew. You know, I went and started shooting digital. Or when everybody was trying to get on Friday night on NBC at 7 p.m., jockeying position for a slot on TV, I decided to go try and own a network. How much competition do you think is at that level? I mean, really think about it. How many people are you competing with to get into television? But how many people were actually trying to get a network? The same network that I applied for, less people than in this room applied for that. Less than 100 people. And of that 100 people, probably only 5 had a really solid business plan. So your competition level, when you think bigger and different, is much less. And you have much more chance to innovate and figure out a new way of doing something. And there's so much room for innovation. I mean, look at what these guys are doing here just with what's trending.
Oh,
thank you,
Rob. You're too kind.
When I saw that when they first started this, the seed of an idea, nobody else was doing that. And now, you know, they're top of their game. So just think about that. Think about, put your thought there instead of, I need to break through this crowd. Where can I squeeze in? You know what? No one's over here. Let me go that way. You'll stumble, but you'll also stumble upon an idea no one else ever had, and you'll discover something new.
Okay, thank you.
I'm putting that on my resume.
I know, yeah, quote that one.
We do have a question that came in from Twitter. It's very specific, so I think you like it. Why in the new series do Seth Gecko's tribal flames tattoo stop just below?
Yeah, that was a very specific one.
There's a specific answer to this.
Oh, I love it. Let's go.
There was apparently there was trouble when you have a tattoo above the collar and you're doing a lot of this. It rubs and it makes a mess, and you know, in a series over 10 episodes, you tend to move your neck a little bit. So, in the interest of moving along quickly, I think we just moved a couple inches.
It comes pretty close to the top.
But yeah, I still have the.
Oh, there you go.
It doesn't come off.
It never comes off.
It's like 2 weeks old.
Permanent. How deep into the research did you get in terms of Aztec culture?
Well, a lot originally for the first film.
Yeah.
And nothing that I could even fit in the movie. Not a lot of it, just a little bit. So this time we really got to go in for the series, and we found amazing stuff. Amazing stuff that we don't want to give away, but there's things, it almost is like, wow, but Quentin didn't write with any of this in mind, so how would he know to make them like two brothers, that there's actually a mythology about two brothers who go up against the gods. So it's pretty cool stuff in there.
We have another Twitter question.
Well, before we got to let them go. We're almost out of time. But before I let you go, Robert, we got to ask about Sin City 2 because we just got our first look at the new trailer just the other day.
That too. God, he almost forgets he has so much coming on at once.
This one is going to be 3D, and obviously you are old hat at doing 3D at this point. How does 3D change the way you approach something like Sin City, which already is so specific and stylized?
That's what I was most excited about. I mean, 3D movies, you've seen 3D movies, and some of them are even converted. There's just you never know where to look, actually. There's so much stuff, especially in the big blockbusters. It kind of becomes a little numbing. It's still great, but it's a little numbing because you just don't know where to look. What's great about Sin City always was its simplicity in design. Frank Miller did better than anybody. How with just a slash of white against black, you could tell a complete story. See that world now immersed, and it's so immersive because it's so you can see everything so well. The separation of space is even greater, that you really feel you are in that world so much that you look down on your arm and expect to see it in black and white. That's how much you feel like you're surrounded, because the 3D pops much more because there's less to distract your eye and more to actually focus it. So I think it'll be one of those people who say you have to see the 3D version.
Yeah. It makes sense. It doesn't feel like a gimmick.
Yeah, it actually makes sense for that world and even makes it more relevant and more like you're immersed in it, which is what you want from an immersive 3D experience.
Yeah. Do we have a Twitter question?
I think we have one more from the audience over here, and then we gotta
ask
wrap
away.
up.
Sure. This may be a bit of a neophyte question, but what's the idea behind the network? I haven't heard of El Rey before, so if you can give a quick
you gotta look
pitch.
us up online. We can talk about it all
El
the
Rey
time.
Website's awesome.
It's a new network. That's why we're doing From Dusk Till Dawn, to kind of draw attention to it. It's a network that I founded called the El Rey Network. It's a kick-ass network. Exciting, visceral, addictive television. If you turn it on, it's stuff that everything on it is curated. Everything on it we're literally actually fans of. Quentin called me the other day and he said, "Hey, I was looking for something to watch and your network was on. I didn't even realize I had it. And you're showing my favorite 2 kung fu movies tonight: Avenging Eagle and Chinese Boxer. There's another promo for it right now." I mean, he couldn't believe it. It's like Sonny Chiba, kung fu movies. There's cult films, classics, stuff that we really love. Classic series that are very cinematic television, like X-Files is now on, Starsky and Hutch, Jim Cameron's Dark Angel, and now our first. I'm doing a director's series called The Director's Chair, where you go and interview other directors. Cool. What does a director ask another director? And other directors will ask each other. And our first series, From Dusk Till Dawn, will premiere this Tuesday. And that'll have a 10-week run. And then our second series will be already shooting in another couple weeks, Matador, sort of like a secret agent show that Bob Orsi, who wrote Transformers and Star Trek and Sleepy Hollow, created for us. That's the next series we have. And then we're just going to keep stuff coming. We're also going to be reaching into the audience and promoting new filmmakers and new voices. People who can't get into the industry. El Rey was made in Austin for people to be able to communicate with each other and get into the industry, get training. I'm already using directors on this show that never would have gotten a chance to make shows, and they're doing a fantastic job. So it's going to keep an eye out for it. It's going to be, I call it the People's Network. Me Network is Sue Network, so come check it out.
We love it. And this is now going to be on Netflix too.
International Netflix. Here it's on Comcast, Time Warner, Cox Communication, DirecTV. If you don't see it Tuesday night, it's on iTunes. You can buy it the next day. So digital platforms are all coming up. This is how you just start a network up.
It's such a fascinating case study, like just to start it from scratch.
Starting from scratch, because then you can build it right from the beginning with a real brand identity and get to people. And they know, I get a lot of tweets from people who say, I turn on your network, I stick it in DVR and record, I'm set. This is like network was programmed for me. I mean, it's nothing but returning you on to cool stuff and saying why it's relevant, where it came from, classic films that we've been fans of that people don't always see, and cool series.
Well, we appreciate it. From Dusk Till Dawn, the series, El Rey Network, Zane, DJ, Robert, thank you guys so much. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for having
us.
And
also, you're so sweet. And we'll be quoting that, using that quote. It was a beautiful message you had. And for all of you watching here on youtube.com/whatstrending, this whole live stream will be available after the show, so subscribe. For all of you also offline, stay tuned for more awesome programming. Tweet us at whatstrending, #Samsung SXSW. And we'll be back in just a bit. We have Juliette Lewis, we have Jenny Slate, Nick Stoller,
David Gordon Green.
We also have a happy hour conversation with Jon Favreau and John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
So that's going to be awesome. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in just a bit. Bye. Thanks.